Before Obama spoke, what had you hoped he
Well,
would say?
I had hoped that President Obama, would give a signal to his negotiators to be more flexible, um, so that at least we can then try to get the agreement we need here in Copenhagen. But I didn't get that sense, and I'm not sure if I'm reading correctly or wrongly. His statements were okay, good, but they were not necessarily inspiring. I mean, I've heard more inspiring speeches from President Obama. And as I said, they did not give a signal of how to move forward,
Okay.
of whether we should move forward and how to move forward.
Okay. So, do you think that his speech moved this negotiation forward, or do you
No,
think it took it
I
back?
said no. I mean, maybe behind the scenes there's other instructions. I know he has been negotiating, so or that they're having discussions with other world leaders with his team. So maybe he gave instructions to them.
Sir, what did you want him to be? What did you want him to instruct his negotiators to be more flexible about? What specific
Well,
things?
particularly about finance, not so much the amount, because the amount that they've given is fine. I suppose I don't really care so much about how big it is, because developing countries cannot probably absorb very big amounts anyway. But about willingness regarding financial architecture, about willingness to move forward on mitigation, particularly, you know, being a bit more bolder, or being bolder in the U.S. targets, mitigation targets.
Do you think that President Obama is just not willing, or do you think what do you think is tying his hands?
No.
What's tying him up?
No, definitely is willing, and this is a much better administration than the previous administration climate change. There's a big difference. So let's be clear about that. But he has a Senate, and he has to ratify in that Senate whatever agreement he enters into on climate change. And so I guess that really clouds or colors everything that the U.S. delegation does and everything that he does with respect to climate change.
Was his speech the kind of this make or break point of this,
No,
of the outcome
no,
here?
it wasn't. I would say the make or break speeches there were, in fact, particularly Brazilian President Lula, who I thought gave the most innovative and the boldest speech there.
What about his speech did you think was so innovative and bold?
Of President Obama?
President Lula.
Well, because first he said that Brazil will contribute to help develop other developing countries address climate change. That's the first time that a developing country also decides to do that. I mean, well, I guess probably not. China does that as well, but that's a big step for Brazil. The targets on energy and on forest, those are of Brazil. Those are big targets.
Game, baka kung may idadagdag lang.
The only thing I will add to that is it was everything we expected him to say, and it was everything was what we already knew.
Well, ang expectation kasi kay Obama, ang pagdating niya dito parang ano siya, knight in shining armor na nakasakay ng kabayo papunta dito at will save the world with the message that and commitments that he'll bring. Pero ang pagdating niya isa siyang isang knight in shining armor na hindi kasama yung kabayo, walang armor, walang weapon. So medyo disappointed yung ating expectations, no? Hindi na reach yung expectations na gusto natin makuha.
So where does that leave us? Does that mean that Copenhagen has failed or is failing? Where does that leave us?
Well,
Di dumating si Knight eh.
well, depends on for sure ang Copenhagen hasn't delivered what it's supposed to deliver. And ang expectation natin is to come out with a really strong outcome na it would bring us the pathway of avoiding dangerous climate change. Kaya lang yung nangyari ngayon is that generally the world leaders fall far short of what is expected of them, and that we need to continue working for the next 6 months or 1 year to come up with the target that we would have wanted to come out in Copenhagen.
Okay. Is there in all of this mess? Is there anywhere that people can find hope that the real problems will be solved someday?
Well, we've seen movement from developing countries. We've also seen some movement from developed countries. Ang only hope really is right now is that we see that there's just too much politics right now, and that the hope perhaps rests on us individuals. And next year we have to really push our leaders to be able to deliver what should have been delivered here in Copenhagen.